2018 115th anniversary CVO Limited. This is number 243 out of 1200. It's only 46 degrees today, but I had to get out on a ride. So this being my first video of the year, I was actually wondering what I was going to talk about. And I think I'll talk about what happened in the off season. So the main thing as far as my motorcycle life goes is I bought this. I bought this bike back in January over at Calumet Harley Davidson in Munster, Indiana. And I was actually looking to get the Sunglow Burgundy Fade CVO Limited, but they sold the one they had. So I was kind of bummed on that, but then my sales guy called me and he's like, well, we do actually have 115th anniversary CVO Limited, which I never thought I would have an opportunity to buy. So I jumped all over it and traded in my Street Glide Special. They gave me a really good deal on the trade-in. So here we are. So I know a lot of people that I talked to were wondering if I was going to buy an Indian, because I do love Indians. And basically, you know, a lot of the stuff that's on a CVO comes stock on an Indian. An Indian has heated grips and seats. A lot of the handlebar controls light out. It's chromed out handlebar controls. Power locks on the door, on the trunk and the bags. So there's a lot to offer in a Roadmaster that you'd actually have to upgrade to a CVO or spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an ultra limited to get it to the same feature set as a Roadmaster. So I was leaning towards Indian. And then what basically happened was two things. One, Indian or Polaris decided not to put the 116 upgrade stock on the Elites. And that really kind of irritated me, because if you're going to go head to head with Harley Davidson on their premium line, being the CVO versus the Elites, you kind of have to have that 116 kit on there, because the 111, which is an awesome engine, you know, it can hold its own against the 107. You know, it's got no shot against the 114, let alone the 117. So I was like, well, if I buy a Roadmaster Elite, which stickers for, I think, $37,000, I'm gonna have to dump $5,000 or $6,000 in it off the get-go, just so that it could compete if I had bought a Harley. So that was my first issue. And my second issue is, you know, the paint on the Roadmaster Elite is really nice. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's a beautiful motorcycle, but it is still made with the same components that the Indian is. So there are some things that annoy me about Indians, and one is that I've been on 4 of them, 2 Chieftains and 2 Roadmasters, and all 4 of them, the fairing rattled. Now, it didn't rattle a lot. It rattled when you kind of went over bumps. But if I'm going to pay that kind of money for a motorcycle, its fairing had better not rattle. And the Indian fairing rattles. So that's really kind of irritated me too. And then the third issue was that, again, because it's just an upgraded Roadmaster, there are certain fit and finishes and paint and, well, not with paint with the Elite, but there are certain fit and finish issues that kind of put me off on the Indian. But at the end of the day, the biggest reason where I decided not to buy the Indian instead of the Harley was the engine and the deal I got on this bike. I don't want to make it sound like money is everything, but when your dealer offers you a killer deal on your trade and works with you on interest. What is this idiot doing? Works with you on interest rates and throws you a bone as far as maintenance. It came down to those 2 issues. So here I am with another Harley Davidson, and I got to say I absolutely love this bike. And comparing it with my Street Glide, I mean, it's kind of unfair because it was a Street Glide, so it had the Street Glides are lowered, so they have much. They only have a small travel on the rear suspension. And because of that, this bike, the Ultra Limited in general, has a much plusher ride, and it also has a better lean. It has better lean angles, so it's not 100% fair to go Street Glide to Limited, especially CVO Limited. But be that as it may, the suspension on this bike is just insane. I mean, I'm going over these big bumps, and it doesn't feel that much different than it does when I'm in my car. And it's not like I drive a beater car. I have a Buick Regal. It has pretty nice suspension in it. Well, this guy in this Durango is really irritating me. I think I may have to go around him. Anyway, so I was just blown away with everything on this bike. The fit and finish, the suspension, and of course the engine. It's just out of this world awesome. I'm very pleased with this purchase. So what I was going to talk about today, after a long debate, is it's been 4 or 5 months since since I shot a video. One of the things I noticed when I was looking at videos of Harleys, particularly CVOs, is that no one really explains, at least in the YouTube video, what the real difference between a CVO Limited and an Ultra Limited is. So, in doing my research to see if I was getting, because you always hear from the dealer, you'd have to put $25,000, $30,000 worth of accessories onto your bike for it to be a CVO. So I was kind of curious if that was actually true. So I took it upon myself, while in the off season, to go and see, what actually does make a CVO CVO. So I'll tell you. First, CVO has different wheels on it. The wheels are for a CVO. I'm not sure if you can get them without having a CVO. I don't know if it's done. controls are lit at night. All the lights are LED. And there are additional lights that shine from the tour pack onto the saddlebags. It has a high-performance air cleaner. And of course it has a 117 engine in their stock. The tour pack and the saddlebags are lined. It has a custom gas cap, custom CVO badges. The shield on the tank is different. It has an upgraded, it has an upgraded the CVOs also have the CVO, the 115th anniversary is dual cooled. The other CVOs are not. Matching floorboards and passenger boards that are upgraded. And the 115th anniversary has a unique seat that you cannot get on any other Harley. It's blue stitched. It's really nice. It's very comfortable. And it has a backrest, and it has an upgraded stereo, 300 watts per channel with stage 1 speakers. So, as far as I can tell, those are the differences. And I didn't get too much into the engine as far as pricing goes, but I didn't research how much custom paint job costs, but I have read that the paint job on this bike, to get it to this level, would probably cost you between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on where you went. So if you throw in the engine upgrade, taking a 107, or you'd have to take the 114 to a 117 in the stage 4 upgrade, that's going to probably cost you $6,000 right there. So just in the paint and in the engine, you just basically paid what the premium price of a CVO would be. But you didn't get everything else too. So it is actually a pretty good deal, though it is a little bit bitter of a pill to swallow when you first get that monthly payment. And and when you sign on the dotted line and see how much that loan amount was for. So, but I did save up for this bike. I didn't go in blind as to how much it was going to cost. So overall, I mean, I'm fine with the price. I think it's a good value if you're going to do what I usually did with non-CVO Harleys and spend boatloads of money to customize it. You know, outside of the saddlebag lights that I put on, I put the lights that go along the saddlebags. You really can't do much more. I mean, it's kind of done. So, and they keep the resale value a little bit better than non-CVO. So, all those extra toys that are on here, you do get something back when you eventually trade it in, if you trade it in. So, YouTube, I'm back. I think I'm going to end this video right